Talk, Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the Daily Show, where we give you all the latest news from the world of movies and plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today, Mark Ellis.
And we are holding the door for all of you guys. Welcome to Collider Movie Talk. My name is Mark. Thank you guys so much for joining us here in our studios in downtown somewhere USA. This might be the best show we've ever done. I'm just going to say right off the bat, I know I'm getting a little cocky.
So
I saw what the rundown is. I know who the panel is. This is going to be the best show that has ever happened on Collider Movie Talk. Ashley, who's joining me for this record-breaking performance?
Also here is John Schnepp.
Hey, what's up? So had a great time in Chicago. Nice to see a lot of fans who watch the show. It's great seeing y'all, and I love Chicago. It was great being there. Millennium Park, what's up?
Also here, Kristian Harloff.
Stop giving me that stink eye, Wendy Lee. I see you back there. I see you.
Is that what you're pointing at?
Yeah, I was pointing at Wendy.
Oh, okay. I wasn't
She
sure.
was looking right at the viewer, though, so the
Well,
viewer
I
might
know,
take
right?
that. Any viewer named Wendy might think that you're yelling at them, as opposed to just
I'm
the
not
one
yelling.
Wendy.
Please
you are
take
yelling.
it personally
scared
if
of
your
Wendy to
name is
yell at.
Wendy.
No, this is the greatest show, guys, so
Thanks.
let's all behave.
This is the greatest show.
Exactly.
We're still on track. We're going to do this today,
It
guys.
has
then
not
we're
been
celebrating
derailed.
afterwards.
There's no derailment happening.
No derailment whatsoever. Let's get right into that first topic. Ashley, hit me. Big story.
Production is officially underway on Christopher Nolan's next film, the World War II-based Dunkirk, which chronicles the evacuation of the city during the British military operation that saved 330,000 lives as Allied soldiers were surrounded by German forces. Nolan is directing from an original screenplay he wrote himself, with Warner Brothers describing the film as an action thriller. Nolan re-teams with his Interstellar cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema, with the movie featuring a cast led by Tom Hardy, Mark Rylance, Kenneth Branagh, Cillian Murphy, and newcomer Fionn Whitehead, with One Direction member Harry Styles, also a part of the ensemble. Dunkirk opens in theaters on July 21st, 2017. Mark, thoughts on the start of Nolan's action thriller Dunkirk?
Well, besides my love for One Direction, I am very jazzed for Dunkirk, because you hear the name Dunkirk and most people might be like, what the hell is Dunkirk? If you know your war history, Dunkirk was a pivotal moment in World War II where you had a bunch of British, Belgian, and French soldiers, and they all kind of got cornered on a beach in France by German soldiers. And so we have to evacuate these guys. It ended up being, what was the number? It was like 330,000 people over this 8-day period. Winston Churchill gave a great speech about it afterwards, and it was one of the, I don't want to say turning points that helped win World War II, but it certainly was a huge moment, and it's still celebrated to this day in the UK. The, evacuation, the freeing, the saving of a lot of lives in the war, particularly World War II. This is one of those things where it's like you have the Battle of Midway, you have Dunkirk, you have the beaches of Normandy. This is a thing that needs to be told on a big screen, and a guy like Christopher Nolan telling that tale with this cast. I haven't seen Harry Styles act yet. I've never even seen the guy perform. I'm sure he's going to be fine if Christopher Nolan thinks he's okay. But you have the, Mark Rylance, Tom Hardy, Kenneth Branagh, Cillian Murphy. Are you kidding me? This sounds great, right, Schnepp?
Sounds amazing. Yeah, and I'm particularly excited to see Nolan tackle historical drama and something in World War II. He's been chomping at the bit to do something this way, and so that he actually wrote the screenplay, took the time to make it exactly the way he wants to not only tell the story but see the story. So it's a big, exciting film to see someone like Christopher Nolan take on something that we normally would see that in the 70s and the 80s and early 90s, more World War I and World War II films. And that's kind of slowed down quite a bit. So it's also nice to see something that will probably be very historically accurate.
Kristian, is Nolan the right guy to be doing a movie based on true events that happened in World War II?
Absolutely, for a lot of different reasons. One, because he's a brilliant filmmaker. I think that he's a guy that does all of his research. Even when he did something like Inception, like everything that came to dreams, and he just went kind of down the rabbit hole to find out everything about it to make it seem that it would be accurate in certain ways. This is a movie that I want to see him do, but not only for those reasons, but because for his legacy as a filmmaker, I want to see him kind of explore more. He's obviously done the sci-fi movies, he's done comic book movies. To see him do a movie like this, a World War II movie, to where you're going to get that Nolan feel, but you're also going to get a bit of this an historical event that you may not be as familiar with the other things. So this is it's a great thing. I'm very excited for it, and the cast.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing about Saving Private Ryan. I don't want to compare this movie too much to Private Ryan, although, look, it's both pivotal moments on a beach in World War II. Saving Private Ryan, everybody knew the storming of the beaches, and then you have this story that they're telling that was loosely based on some events that might have actually gone down in World War II, and then they stretch the truth a little bit. This one, I think you more stick to the facts with Dunkirk. I don't think you go off and tell this whimsical tale about what might have happened with a few of the soldiers. This seems like it's going to be more by the book, historically accurate. Is that the kind of movie you want, Schnepp?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things I wanted to comment on was not just the historical accuracy, but also seeing some of these behind-the-scenes photos. It feels almost like you're seeing an Inception-y style film because you see those flat trucks. So you start to realize, oh, they're shooting a lot of stuff, and I think Nolan's basically going to be doing a lot of in-camera tricks, just to not do all this added post, but try to shoot everything as much as real as possible. So that would be like some fake background sets or even those fake trucks. So it's very fun to see the process.
The release date is curious to me, Harloff, because it comes out July 21st, 2017, which you wouldn't necessarily think that a historical epic based on a war would open big in the summertime, but you put that name Christopher Nolan there. Why wouldn't we be seeing this more closer to an Oscar contending kind of season?
I think that you nailed it. I think look, it's because it's Nolan. If you would have told me, was it 2009 or 2, and I forget when Inception came out, that movie was a summer movie, and no one knew what it was about. And everyone was like, why is this movie coming out in summertime? And it worked because what Nolan can do is paint a picture, even if it is World War II, you have that big kind of epic feel. I mean, look at something like Braveheart. Braveheart came out in a different landscape, obviously, for summer movies back then, but Braveheart, I believe, came out in August of that year, which is a summer movie as well, and wound up doing really well in the Oscars. So it's certainly possible that a movie like this can also do well, but I think that because Nolan is one of those guys now that we've talked about it many times on this show on Schmoes, that the director is almost becoming more of the star than the actor himself. You have a guy like him or Tarantino, he could do it. I think that it would be interesting if he did something in like December, but maybe he doesn't want to. I don't know. It's interesting. I think that it's a very curious date, but I also think if you're going to do it, you do it with Nolan.
That's right. And all you kids, if you want to sound smart and impress your history teacher, bring up Dunkirk now. Don't do it when the movie comes out because everybody's going to know what it is. Bring it up now, today, and mention it wasn't just British soldiers. It was Belgian and French as well. You're welcome. All right, Ash, what's our next topic?
At an event last night at Blumhouse Pictures, producer Jason Blumhouse announced legendary Master of Horror director John Carpenter will executive produce a new movie in the Halloween series. Miramax and Blumhouse Productions are co-financing production of the project, with longtime series producer Malika Akkad overseeing the project under his Trancas International Films banner. The new movie will be the first Halloween film since 2009's Halloween 2, director Rob Zombie's sequel to his 2007 remake. In a statement about the movie, John Carpenter said, "We're probably going to go back to the original traditions that we started with early on. It's kind of gone astray a little bit. I thought maybe the remake went off somewhere that I didn't want him to go. Michael Myers is not a character. He is a force of nature. He is not a person. He is part supernatural, part human. He's like the wind. He's an evil wind. When you start straying away from that and you get into explaining, you're lost. So hopefully we can guide it back in that direction." While no other details have been revealed on whether it's a straight reboot, spin-off, or continuation of the previous series, Blumhouse and Carpenter are aiming for a Halloween 2017 release date with hopes of signing on a seasoned director to helm the movie. Schnepp, thoughts on a new series of Halloween movies with Carpenter back as a producer? Kitty cat.
Oh, it's scary rats today. Well, is that a treat for the fans.
Got it.
I'm sure they just all love that as much as I do.
I think this is awesome news. One of the more exciting things is that John Carpenter is actually going to score this new remake, reboot, prequel, sequel, whatever it's going to be, because he's been on a kick of doing a bunch of concert series. He's going on concert. I'm going to the LA concert in later June. Cannot wait to see him play
You're
all
gonna
of his.
see John Carpenter play music?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because he did the score for the original Halloween, the famous
He
piano
did
jingle.
They Live, The Thing. I mean, Escape from New York, you name it. He did it. He's done all of his own scores for all of his movies. So that's really exciting. I think going back to basics with Halloween, just like they're doing with Friday the 13th, makes total sense. I think Rob Zombie got to explore it, make a different kind of Halloween film. But, nothing really beats the original. And, if they have to make another Halloween movie, I think it makes sense to at least make sure John Carpenter gets paid, because he never got paid anything for all those original. He got paid as a director. It's not like he worked for free, but those movies went on to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and he didn't see that money. So I think that's kind of what. They're giving him a nice, tasty check. He's the executive producer. He's going to drop in on set a couple times. I don't think he's going to be there every day. It's not like John Carpenter's Halloween. It's going to be someone else's Halloween. They're remaking it, but they're taking his original idea of what Michael Myers was, the shape, and making it that. So that's kind of exciting news.
Yeah, I mean, you put the Blumhouse stamp on there, and that gives me somewhat of a confident feel going into this. But John Carpenter is a guy, he clearly cares about the Halloween source material, but he will license it and let, like, Rob Zombie went off and made those movies. And you can tell John Carpenter was not a fan of those movies necessarily, but he's like, yeah, he took it in a different direction. I didn't really like it. So Blumhouse is doing it. The thing with Blumhouse is that they're really good at making horror movies. They know how to scare people. Occasionally, they can get into slapping a name on something. Like Sinister 2 really bummed me out because it seemed like they were just, marketing off the name Sinister. I don't think that's going to be the case with this. I think everybody involved really cares about bringing Halloween back to what was so scary about it way back in 1978. I hope it's not just, it's Halloween, it's around Halloween time, let's get kids in the seats for 2 weeks and then make a crap ton of money. I think, and I'm confident, partially because I'm hoping that they do care about making these movies good again. Kristian, you're giving me that look. John Carpenter described Michael Myers as an evil wind, which in my world, I treat that as sounding like a fart, which is what a lot of people considered Rob Zombie's movie to be. Did you see the Rob Zombie Halloween movies? Have you seen a Halloween movie? And what do you think of this news?
I saw the original, which is a fantastic horror film. No, you're an optimistic little guy. And I appreciate the optimism, both of you guys. Yes, you can slap Carpenter's name in there, and I would love to see the notes that he gives. But another one? Who cares? It's just another one. It's like Michael Myers, again, bring him back. Even if it's as scary, just people are still going to say, the first one, go back to the first one. It's done. I just believe that it's done. If they are able to make a scary one and it's able to make a really good movie with it, and they're not just going off the nostalgia of the name of the franchise, then sure, I hope to be surprised and go in there and go, okay, great. They were able to do it. They tried it again with Nightmare on Elm Street when they rebooted that movie. That was a failure. Just stop doing it. I just think that there's no reason to do it anymore.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is that the Friday the 13th? We talked about that yesterday on Movie Talk. Is that they now have a new idea for Friday the 13th, and it's not going to be found footage anymore. They want to bring that back to the original feel. They want to bring Halloween back. Nightmare on Elm Street. That reboot did not do well. You're telling me which of those three would you rather see remade though? If you're at a movie theater and you get to see, okay, I can see the new Nightmare on Elm Street, a new Friday the 13th, or a new Halloween. I think I'm taking Halloween because I'm the least attached to that movie from its original version. Like, I love Halloween, but I was more of a Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street kid growing up, so I want to see Halloween done the right way. How about you guys?
They've already all been remade.
Yeah.
All of them have already been remade.
We're going to remake them again.
Another remake.
Yeah. It's like a recording of a recording of a recording.
Well, then I guess I would give Halloween a chance because the Halloween that Rob Zombie did was so markedly different. Especially Halloween 2 was way off the charts different. So I wouldn't mind going back to what they keep referring to as the source material, like Halloween, a evil wind cometh, or some whatever they want to just find the shape as like a supernatural force, which that's how he kind of was in the first couple films, especially the first two. I don't know. I mean, I would like to see them make a really scary Halloween film for our new millennium. So that would be fun.
Me too. But but if they do it the problem is all these remakes now, they're too glossy. They're too glossy. They're too big budget. That's why I start to go, oh, no more, no more. If you did, what was the movie that came out? It Follows.
Right.
Like, if you look, It Follows, that felt like old school horror, 80s horror. And I love that movie. And I saw some comment in the chat room just like, anything horror he sells, wrong. Anything that's just a typical slasher, it's just rehashed garbage when it gets lazy, that's what I sell. This, to me, is just them going off of the name. But if they went, and that's similar to what we were talking about when we brought up Terminator, if they went back to what James Cameron did in '84 with that kind of low-budget horror feel, like that's how you revamp Terminator. That's how you can revamp Friday the 13th. Go more old school, what Carpenter did back in, was it 80 or 79 or whatever it was?
78,
70,
yeah.
whatever it was.
Way back.
Go to that, and then when I see like that kind of feel, and it doesn't feel like a 2016 glossy big budget production, that's when I'll get excited for
Well,
it.
they got to get a good director. They have to get a director who gets what you're talking about and wants to make a really good film.
Yeah, and Perry Nemiroff, our own Perry Nemiroff from
I've heard of
Collider.com,
her.
was on hand last night at this event, and she was covered. So there's been director names. There's some sites that are reporting they might know who the director is, but nobody's been confirmed yet for directing this new reboot of Halloween. Hopefully we get some news soon, and hopefully that news is positive and can make me an even more optimistic little guy. All right, Ash, what's our next topic?
Joss Whedon may be on a break from Marvel movies, but that doesn't mean he's slowing down. In an exclusive interview with The Wrap, Whedon, who was at the He for She Media Summit in Los Angeles, being honored for his work on behalf of women's rights, revealed some clues about his next project currently in the scripting stages. Speaking a bit about the story, Whedon told The Wrap, "It is a story about a girl who goes through some unbelievable and that much is all I can say." But he did go on. "It is an original screenplay that is very different from everything I've ever done, except for that it's exactly the same. If it could just get a little more traction on that third act issue. It's the first time in my life I'm writing without a sort of studio audience rating, without a plan. I'm just writing about something I care about, so it's a little terrifying, and it's taking a little longer, but I think it will be good." Kristian, your thoughts on Joss Whedon's new project?
Love it. Can't wait to see it. This is the type of, when I hear him talk about these, like his passion of a project and the way that he's going to kind of go back into it, what he did with Buffy, and just really bringing in that Whedon stamp, that he's just able to lock in and write something that he's been focusing on, because we have to assume he's pretty financially secure right now after his two Avengers movies, and then now it's time to focus more on being Joss Whedon. This is cool. He's always written females really well. I want to see what he's able to do now with this brand new project. I love that line of the fact that it's different but the same. So we're going to see a lot of the Whedon-isms in this brand new story. I love it. I think this is exactly what he should be doing. I think he was getting a little burnt out on the Marvel side of things, so it's good that he's kind of going this direction.
Yeah, Schnepp, it's kind of the window into the soul of somebody, a big-time writer, producer, director, creating something as it's happening. It's pretty cool to see these comments, right?
Sure, I like him. Especially, I love all of Whedon's work. I love Firefly. I love the Buffy and Angel world that he created. So to see something new from him that he's coming up with is exciting, and to hear him, you know, he's always very self-effacing. He's like, I'm going to ruin the end or whatever. He's like, you know, he's the first guy to talk down about himself. I think he's like, you know, he's in that process where he's trying to figure out the ending. But, you know, that we're going to see all those Whedonisms, like you said, it makes me feel happy that it'll probably have a lot of science fiction and supernatural elements in it. So I'm really looking forward to whatever it is he does next.
I love the honesty of this guy. I love that he's like, look, I'm working on it right now. I'm not sure where it's going. I'm having some struggles with the third act. I like seeing somebody not just be like, oh, here's my finished product, and of course it's the greatest thing of all time.
Right.
He's like, no, this thing is a work in progress. And I got a chance to watch his panel at Comic-Con last year in Hall H, which was really surprised because, like, he wasn't showing any footage or anything. It was pretty much like studios come into Hall H, like, oh, look at this trailer, look at this big announcement. And then for like an hour, it was just Joss Whedon by himself on stage, just talking about the writing process. He was taking questions from the 6,000 people that were there. And he handles himself well, but he's brutal on himself and everyone else when he's critiquing his own art. So I like that you see this for the first time in his career, as he said, that there's no studio audience rating that he has to worry about. So whether he was working on something like Buffy and he's like, well, okay, this is for TV, so I have to hold back a little bit, or he's participating in a larger cinematic universe like what he was doing with Marvel, now he seems like a guy who is just free. He can fly wherever he wants. That doesn't always indicate that you're going to get great art, but with Joss Whedon, it's fun to watch him create it as it's happening.
You're letting him he's doing what he does. It's like he's took the big jobs and now he's able to kind of, it's what every filmmaker I think kind of dreams of doing is where you can get to a place to where you can just kick back and do your thing. You don't have to do a studio movie. He certainly enjoyed himself on the first Avengers. He's been public that the second one was a little tough for him and he's stepping back. So it's really cool to see that he's going to be doing another Whedon movie.
And he's just so rich, like you said. He's just so rich. Like, he's not one of these guys who just hunkered at a Starbucks, like, oh, I got to get this script out. Like, he's probably on Johnny Depp's island, just like kicking back, letting the waves hit his feet,
Putting
just
bids
writing
on it.
whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, remember, he's getting checks from Buffy.
Right.
from way back. He's still getting checks every
Do you think he even signs the Buffy checks
No,
anymore?
he's got someone else
getting
signing
checks
them.
for
Yeah.
more recent. He probably has a stack of Buffy checks that he just gives out to kids at Christmas. Like,
The guy wrote the first Toy Story.
Did he really?
Co-wrote the first.
Yeah.
first
I know he punched up Scream.
He wrote Alien 3.
Yeah.
Dude,
Wow.
you know Joss Whedon is actually Christian's dad? It's so weird how much art this guy's created.
Same red hair.
Before we move on to Buy or Sell, I want to talk to Christian's nemesis, Wendy Lee, over there, and see what are the kids in the chat room saying right now about our three main topics.
Watching you, Kristian. All right, let's go all the way back up to the Dunkirk story. Some say Nolan's overrated. Others say he's perfect for a war movie. Bullseye 1423 says, hope it's not another Interstellar. And Linnea Rudden says, the casting for Dunkirk is amazing. For the new Halloween, most of the chat's excited for Carpenter's involvement in the new Halloween. Others are not so sure about this. Tim Franco says, not sure how I feel about this. On one side, we have Carpenter. However, it may just be overdone. And finally, for the Joss Whedon project, the chat room's looking pretty divided on this. Some are saying that he's boring. Jason Creed says, Joss Whedon is one of the hardest working directors in Hollywood, and it shows in every film he makes. I'm on board with his brand.
All right, with that,
I was going to say, it's really, can we cut back to Wendy for a second?
Why?
It's just amazing. Like, it seems like she's in studio with us, but she's actually at this public access channel off in some weird area of Hoboken, Illinois. Yeah. It's, just
Working
from the
from home,
lighting, you
guys.
can tell it's not the same. We're not in the same place.
she's
It's
actually
amazing.
in the Weird Al Yankovic movie UHF. We got to that studio.
Yeah, that studio's still in effect, and we're renting it. A small, weird basement side that Wendy is in right now. It's just
Hold the door, Wendy.
Point that out.
I want to recommend UHF to everybody out there, but I really don't know. I can't remember if it's actually funny or not. I think it's hysterical.
It's well to recommend it.
Okay, go ahead and watch UHF right after this
The
show.
turtle up on the ceiling.
Oh, it's a young Michael Richards. It's pretty fantastic. All right, Ash, let's go on to Buy or Sell. This is the part of the show where she will present us with a topic. We simply say whether we buy it or whether we sell it, and then these two knuckleheads will probably show their teeth.
Another Marvel rumor has been put to rest. Vincent Donofrio, who plays Kingpin in Netflix and Marvel's Daredevil series, addressed a rumor that his character would possibly appear in the forthcoming Spider-Man Homecoming film and the MCU, which of course got fans buzzing about the possibility, with many wondering what it might look like pairing the colorful Spidey with the dark and violent Daredevil nemesis. But it was not to be. Donofrio took to his social media in order to clear the air, sending a tweet that read, "Sorry folks, but this is news to me. It would be great, but I don't think it will happen." Spider-Man Homecoming stars Tom Holland, Melissa Tomei, Robert Downey Jr., with the newly added Michael Keaton to play the villain. The movie is scheduled for release on July 7, 2017. Mark Bayer saw the idea of no Vincent D'Onofrio in a Spider-Man movie.
Ooh, I buy that Homecoming comes out on my birthday next year. All
Nice.
right, mark your calendars, kids. I will also buy the fact that Vincent D'Onofrio will not be in Spider-Man Homecoming. You know why? Look at the cast that Ashley just read to you. Like, where would we wedge in Kingpin into this movie unless we wanted him to be like the Rhino, the Paul Giamatti in Amazing Spider-Man 2 of this new film? Just doesn't seem like there would have been room for him anyway, and I don't think that if you want to eventually cross over the Netflix and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I know they all exist in the same world, but if you want to have those characters appear in the movies, I don't think Spider-Man Homecoming, Sony's first reboot at Spider-Man that's theirs, is the place to do it at all. I think they have a great thing going right now. Marvel's producing, they're consulting it, Sony's going to be distributing it. This is the right thing going forward. Do not muck up the world right now. We just want to see Spider-Man without thinking about, oh, I wonder what the gang in Hell's Kitchen's up to. Kristian?
Yeah. I also sell the fact that he's.
You buy the fact that he's not in
I
it.
buy the fact that he's not in it, and when it was funny because the other day we were considering talking when the story broke and we talked about it, and we're like, it's not going to be true. And I think that one of the things too, and I don't want to really take any shots at this particular site, but there was a site that broke it. And they've just had the reputation of just jumping the gun and doing this thing. And it's like, well, they're reporting on it, so let's wait and see. And then it hurts that then the actor himself comes out and says, not happening. So I also agree. I don't think tone-wise, I think that they're shifting and they're really making that Marvel Cinematic Universe, obviously on the screen, and then the television universe separate in tone. I mean, you look at what Jessica Jones and what Punisher's obviously what he did in Daredevil and what he's going to do on his scene, and then Luke Cage. You have all these shows over there that are going to be so specific in the R-rated kind of tone. And then there's the PG-13 cinematic universe, which is they don't fit. It's just a different feel. So they would have to tone him down. So I'm glad that he's not in it.
Schnepp, should we be able to see Kingpin in the new Spider-Man movie? Would you want to see that, or are you on the side of me and Kristian?
You know what? I mean, you don't need to see Kingpin. If they wanted to squeeze him in, they could have like Peter Parker crossing the street and a limo pull. Kingpin lowers his window or something like, "Kid, get out of the road," which would be horrible. I'm just saying, it's like there's no reason for him to be in the film. The Netflix series is definitely like TVMA. It's completely R-rated, especially if you saw the last Punisher season 2. It's incredibly violent, and I think the Spider-Man film is going to be in like this John Hughes kind of like high school world. I just don't think they need to mix. I know Kingpin was a Spider-Man villain when he first started out, so I mean that would be nice to maybe see a little homage to that, but I don't think you necessarily have to have them in the same movie. And if they ever do meet up, it could be in 10 years or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate a cameo. Like I never hate cameos. Like it would not bother me at all if he's ordering coffee somewhere and then Peter Parker bumps into him and then he takes off, and I don't hate that at all. But just having him as one of the villains in this movie, because if you have Kingpin in there, you either want it to be a cameo or you want him to be like the villain in the movie. You don't want him to be also participating in the third act and mucking things up. So if you're going to make him the villain, it just seems like it would be a little bit desperate on the part of Sony to want to recruit somebody that we know is a proven commodity. We already got Spider-Man. Everybody loved Tom Holland as him in Civil War. It's the right move going forward to stick with what you already have. We hope that's going to stay the case. All right, what's our next buy or sell?
STX Entertainment has unveiled a new trailer for writer-director Gary Ross's Civil War drama, Free State of Jones. The film chronicles the true story of a defiant Southern farmer named Newt Knight, played by Matthew McConaughey, who defected from the Confederacy and led an armed rebellion against the Southern soldiers, banding together with small farmers and local slaves to secede Jones County, Mississippi, from the Confederacy. The film also stars Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Mahershala Ali, Christopher Barry, and Kerry Russell. Free State of Jones opens in theaters on June 24th. Schnepp, buy or sell the new trailer for Free State of Jones?
I thought the new trailer was, I liked it even better than the first trailer. I felt they actually showed a few more complete scenes. You get a much fuller idea of what the movie's going to be about. And I really like this trailer. Like I said, I think the first trailer I felt showed a little too much. They just did that quick cutting too much, and this shows a little bit more of each scene and gives you a little more of some of the other characters besides McConaughey. So yeah, I'll buy the trailer, this new one.
Yeah, it's a big buy for me because I like that the trailer is selling people on the movie. It's a great, if you don't know the actual story of Newt Knight, it's an amazing story. I hope they stick somewhat close to the real source material. Even if they don't, I want people to know about this topic. I mean, I'm from the South, like the Civil War, that history is pretty huge there. And seeing this movie and watching this particular trailer, it was very heavy on the action. I don't think the movie is going to be like a slam-bang action movie, which is what the vibe I kind of got from this trailer. I think it's going to be a lot quieter, more dramatic than what this trailer gave us. But that's the job of a trailer, is to get as many butts in seats as possible, and then hopefully the story pays off, even if it's not necessarily in the action thriller genre, if it's a quieter movie. Kristian, your take?
Yeah, I buy the trailer as well, and I think that it reminded me a little bit of The Patriot, I think, too. But what I liked about it is watching McConaughey really tap into what has made him this great actor over the last, like when he had McConaissance over the last 3 or 4 years. Because what I liked about his teeth are all gnarly. He didn't have to worry about the movie star, like, oh, I don't care. I want to make myself look glamorous. I'm Matthew McConaughey with the white teeth and everything too. He looks grizzled. He looks authentic. I didn't even think of McConaughey once I saw the character as I was going through this trailer. So I'm actually really excited for this. It kind of goes back to what we were just saying with Nolan. This seems like a movie that would almost come out later on in the year, but it's coming out in the summertime. So I loved what I've seen so far. I liked the last trailer, but I agree with Schnepp. I like this trailer just a little bit more.
Yeah, the story of Newt Knight. First of all, after all this stuff goes down, Newt Knight liked to have kids. Like, there's a chance all 4 of us are related to Newt Knight. He was a fan of reproducing. And here's a great movie trivia schmodown question for you guys.
Yep.
What was the name of the county? You know, in the trailer, you see the American flag go up. What was the name of the county where that courthouse was, where the American flag goes up?
Quimblesburg.
It is not Quimblesburg. Kristian George.
Simple Times.
Ashley Mova.
Los Angeles.
It was Ellisville, ladies and gentlemen. Ellisville,
Nice.
Mississippi. All right.
Nice.
Little fun treat for me. And now you guys know my
Should have
birthday.
known it was all about you, Ellis.
It's always all about this guy and not the rats to my right and left. All right, Ash, what's our next topic?
Disney and Pixar have released the brand new trailer for the highly anticipated sequel to Finding Nemo, Finding Dory. Director Andrew Stanton returns to helm the follow-up, which finds Dory, voiced by Ellen DeGeneres, suddenly remembering details about her family, which sends her on a life-changing adventure to go and find them, during which she runs across a host of new characters. Written by Stanton and Victoria Strauss, the film also features the voices of Albert Brooks, Dominic West, Ed O'Neill, Diane Keaton, Eugene Levy, Bill Hader, and Kate McKinnon. Finding Dory opens in theaters on June 17th. Kristian, buy or sell the new trailer for Finding Dory?
Well, myself and Perry just did a trailer reaction / review that I believe is up on the channel now. You can check that out, but I'll just kind of go over what I said in that video too. I am excited about this movie. You guys know I'm a big Pixar fan. I'm definitely going to take my daughter to see this. She's very excited to do it. I think kids are going to love it. What I fear with this movie is that, especially in this trailer, it looks like Finding Nemo all over again. Now, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of very fun moments, some really good jokes. It's going to feel good to be in the theater watching it, but I don't think it's going to have the same magic that Nemo had, because it really, you look at it, it really is the same story, the same jokes, the same gags. So as much as I do want to see it, I'm just worried that it's going to be a complete retelling with just Dory, who I don't know if she can carry a movie yet. But we'll see.
I've been on that train with you for a while. I've been on that boat, if you will, and I am jumping ship onto a cruise liner that says this is a huge buy for me. I fell in love with this trailer, mostly because I feel like this movie is not going to be a retread of Finding Nemo anymore. Watching this trailer, it looks like, Dory's going to get lost because she has no, short-term memory. And then we find Dory, or long-term, whatever the hell your memory is, whatever the one that goes away when you smoke weed, she doesn't have any of that. So she gets lost, and then we find Dory, and then the rest of the movie, maybe up to 2 acts of this movie, could be Finding Dory in a sense of her discovering who she is and what her past is.
It doesn't look like they found her. It looks like someone else found her. She seems like she's by herself, which is essentially Finding Nemo. The whole entire time she found new friends who help her on her adventure, which happens with Nemo as well.
That's what I'm saying, is that Nemo, the whole movie of Nemo is Albert Brooks looking for his kid,
but he
right?
finds
and then
new
Nemo's
friends.
having an adventure along the way, but Dory meeting new friends and having a different adventure and then incorporating that into meeting her family. I was surprised by how many new elements, how fresh this trailer felt, because it did, prior to this, it felt so much like Finding Nemo. And by the way, I love Albert Brooks to death. He's one of the great comics of all time. I think Ed O'Neill steals this entire movie. Ed O'Neill as a squid or an octopus, Hank, he looks awesome. That's exactly the vocal guy I want doing that character. Schnepp, do you buy it, or is it a huge buy?
It's a medium buy for me. I think, families and kids are going to enjoy it. I'm just like, why worry about Finding Dory when she won't even remember you in a day?
Right.
She'll be like, who are you?
Oh, I'm not
she's
going
gonna have
after.
brand
I'm
new
not
friends.
saying I go after her.
Wherever she went, she's probably just having her own, for fun as the brand new Dory, because she forgets who she is every day. I don't know about the short-term memory, Dory being the lead of the film, but that's what they've made. So the trailer seems like she goes through a lot of adventures. She ends up as part of like some SeaWorld cluster of animals who are all like imprisoned, and little kids are poking them, and strange things are happening. So I guess there's going to be a lot of humor in it. From the trailer, I laughed a little bit. So it's a medium buy. I don't even know if I'll see it in the theater.
It's a medium buy from Schnepp, and maybe from Kristian. It's a bigger buy from me. And now we go to Ashley. Do we supersize this buy for you? Did you love it?
We're going to supersize the buy. I freaking loved it, because before, in the previous trailer, from what I remember, it seemed more to be like the jokes. There was no story. But here you could see the story, and it really made me sad. That thing that Pixar does that makes you want to cry. I could see that in this movie. And this, I'm really excited to see that. And you could see, my favorite part was when a kid poked the squid and then the ink went everywhere, and it was like basically a fart. It was hilarious.
She's like, it's okay.
She's like, we all do it. It was really cute. I'm really excited to see this. I think it seems really touching and funny at the same time.
Yeah, my one complaint about the trailer is that how many times do I have to use that Peter Gabriel song to convey like, oh, it's going to be like, it's going to be a fun, touching.
It's touching, okay?
Forever.
It's touching.
Always.
That song's literally in every other trailer. It's like, guys, we get it. Peter Gabriel is good. Let's go somewhere else. Cusack, put down the boombox.
That's right.
All right, that is it for buy or sell, kids. And now we go on to opening this week, brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters. Right over there, Miss Ashley Mova, huge fan of the new Finding Dory trailer, is going to read us about a movie that is coming out this very week. And what do we got, Ash?
Alice through the looking glass. After slipping through a mirror, Alice, Mia Wasikowska, finds herself back in Underland with the White Queen, Anne Hathaway, the Cheshire Cat, the White Rabbit, Tweedledee, and Tweedledum. Her friends tell her that the Mad Hatter, Johnny Depp, is depressed over the death of his family. Hoping to save his loved ones, Alice steals the chronosphere from Time, Sacha Baron Cohen, to travel into the past. While there, she encounters the younger Hatter and the evil Red Queen, Helena Bonham Carter.
All right, well, Tweedledee and Tweedledum have already seen this movie. I have not, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't really want to see this movie that much. So when I was on the road and I found out Kristian and our friend Mary Jedick had already seen it, I was like, oh, awesome. You guys can do the review for Schmoes. No, and John Schnepp, you had seen this before anybody else had seen it, and you came into the office the next day, and what was your state of mind?
I was so excited, right? Remember, guys, how excited I was? You know, I got to be honest, I disliked this film immensely. Had a horrible time in the theater, wriggling in my seat, wanting to walk out, but like, you know, I'm not going to walk out. I'm going to see it to the grueling, torturous end. I felt like I was in Clockwork Orange with my eyes stapled open to endure this piece of garbage. It was a horrible film.
It couldn't have been that bad.
It was horrible. It was really horrible. And honestly, the first like 5 minutes were actually kind of fun, and with Alan Rickman and this intro to the world, and I was like, wow, I can't believe this might be a good film. No, it's not. It's definitely not a film. It's far worse than the first film. If anything, if you have to take your children because they're begging you to go on this trip through Mushroom Land, sour mushroom sauce, you know, maybe drop them off at another film and lie to them and tell them that it's Alice in Wonderland, because they'll fall asleep. I mean, unless they're like Ritalin, you know, ADD or whatever. I don't know. I can't recommend it at all. It's horrible.
So you like it?
Yeah. Tell us how you really felt about it. Sour mushroom
I felt
sauce.
like thousands of people wasted their time making this movie. It's like, it's a bummer when you see a movie that has so many special effects, so many talented artists and actors all working together to make garbage. It's a horrible thing where nothing adds up. It's a giant waste of time. All the actors are kind of like don't really know what movie they're in, and they're overacting, and the dialogue is atrocious, and every scene feels like a repeated, like, why are they doing this? Now that's stupid. That doesn't even make any sense. It just keeps repeating itself. Unendurable, torturous horror.
Okay, so Kristian, just to set the table. So John Schnepp would rather be on the planet Alderaan on a certain Thursday than have to go see this movie.
Yes.
You also saw the film. Do you agree with John Schnepp?
Well, I agree that it's certainly not a good movie. I don't hate it as much as he did, and I think that maybe because I saw him a couple of days beforehand, and he did that.
You were prepared for sour mushroom
I was
sauce.
expecting the worst, and I thought that it was on par with the first one, and I didn't love the first one. The first one was okay, and this one actually, it's boring. He's right. It's just a boring film. You don't really know what's happening. Sacha Baron Cohen's doing Arnold and Werner Herzog. I mean, it's you don't care. And if you didn't like Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter the first time, this one's not going to make you go, well, you know what, I was wrong. He's really great. You're going to hate him just as much as you did in the first one because he's the same
and
character.
His Carrot Top family. He's got a weird Carrot Top family.
It's weird. It's bizarre. It's not a good movie, and it's just it's a step back from what Disney was doing because they started with Alice and then they went to Maleficent. Then they went to Cinderella, and then obviously the last one with Jungle Book. This is a step back from all of those, and granted it's a sequel and a little different obviously than based off the animation, but then you saw Beauty and the Beast yesterday. It looks like they're going to be just fine. But this is just not a good movie, and I think that the key word is that it's dull.
Yeah, see, like when I was trying to convince myself that there was going to be, redeeming values to this movie, which again I haven't seen. I was watching the trailer, and Sacha Baron Cohen as the character Time looked very interesting to me. That whole plot line looked intriguing. Like, oh, okay, cool. If we get me into this world and we're dealing with this, I want to see what he has to bring to the table. And it just doesn't sound like
it's just erratic.
It's
it becomes too erratic, and there's not enough focus on it. And there's a lot of times when you're watching, it's like, wait, what? Huh?
Yeah, didn't we just do that already?
No,
now they're
but
doing
that
this.
doesn't-
This keeps jumping around for no reason.
And it doesn't. And it's not that it doesn't make sense in the way that you want Neverland to do. It's
Right.
just it's just very messy.
Yeah, it makes sense in a very boring and like stretched out, like one sentence is stretched out into 90 minutes. So it's that's why it's torturous. You're like, oh.
Well, our show is never torturous. We hope to not be erratic, and we want to always make sense. And before we move on to Mailbag, I want to toss it back to our very own Wendy Lee. Wendy, not just oust through the looking glass. Let's get away from that a little bit. Let's talk about some of the buy or sell topics that we had. We had the Dory trailer. We had the Free State of Jones trailer. What are people most looking forward to out of those two movies?
Well, the chat room's actually kind of divided on both. They're divided on the Free State of Joneses. Some are saying that Matthew McConaughey should drive a Lincoln over the enemies in the movie. And for Finding Dory, again, the chat room was divided on this. Or A says, bye, it looks cute and heartwarming. I'm all up for references to the original here and there, but let's hope this movie doesn't rely too much on nostalgia. And just the throwback to the Alice thing, got a lot of poop emojis.
A lot of turd emojis for through the looking glass. Are the fans really bent out of shape about Vincent Donofrio not being in Spider-Man Homecoming, or does that seem to make sense?
Oh, a lot of sells for that. Some buy. Black Manta says, please, just a cameo. And Wouter DeBruin says, movie and TV are separated, so no surprise there. And Smop T. Jones says, buy, save Kingpin for down the road.
Real quick, I saw some people commenting on this. Just to be clear, a lot of people, I even had a conversation with someone behind the scenes. Tim Burton did not direct this movie.
Correct.
Alice. Yeah, a lot of people think that Tim Burton
produced
directed it.
He's
right?
an
He produced
executive,
it, right.
executive producer,
But he didn't
which means
direct.
he's like kind of came in on set and bought everybody a
Right.
sandwich or something.
Well, people
So
were
he
asking,
wasn't-
like, did he lose his touch? Does this mean he's
No, he has
done? He didn't
almost
direct it.
nothing to do with
Right.
it.
Right.
Thank you very much. And I just want to do this real quick. Everybody in the chat room, they have been awesome today.
Yeah.
Thanks for agreeing with us for the most part. We really appreciate it. And make sure you guys comment on the YouTube feed afterwards if you're not watching us live. Okay, let's move on to Mailbag. Mailbag is where, Kristian, you wanted to talk about something. You seemed like you wanted to talk about something before we moved on to Mailbag. The floor is yours,
Well,
buddy.
no, there's something big coming on Friday. You
But
got-
hopefully not Alice. We're done talking about Alice through the
No,
looking
if
glass.
you guys have been following there's a lot of drama going on in the world of the Schmodown. You have you've got Finstock and Clark Wolf going up against one another, and if you see what happened on Thursday on the Schmo Show, it's a lot of it's going to come to a head. But these two, like Clark Wolf, who thought Finstock would be here? And then you
Not
got
me.
You got
Not
Clark,
me.
A lot
Jeez.
of and a lot of people think Clark Wolf has a chance to take Riley out. So it's a big match. I've been getting more tweets about this match than I think I've gotten about any match. People are really, really looking forward to seeing if Finstock can pull off another crazy victory, or if Clark Wolf is going to be the one to kind of rise up the ranks. Do you guys have? Can Finstock
having
do it
faced
again?
off with a weird masked one.
Yeah.
He's got an incredible streak of luck. So I'll give him that. So I mean, if he ends up, rolling the dice, spinning that wheel, and getting exactly what he knows best, sports, and Clint Eastwood, Arnold Schwarzenegger action films.
Right.
Yeah, I think then he might be able to maybe take it. Otherwise, it's Clark's. It's all hers in the bag. She's got 90% her. But if his weird luck skills lock in,
You never know. I put a poll up, and I think right now it's like 72% in favor of Clark.
I mean, I look at Clark Wolf, like I hope Christopher Nolan looks at Dunkirk. Like it's like just something that she does her research. She really investigates movie trivia. She really wants to win bad. She wants to be the she wants Riley's belt eventually.
Yep.
As Schnepp calls him, Jim Sock. He's just there to show up and get really lucky, which to his credit, he has done numerous times. I just think that luck streak is gonna run out this Friday, and you guys can check that out on Friday afternoon right here at the Collider Video YouTube channel. And for some prelude to some other cool things going on in the Schmodown, make sure you guys check out the Schmoes Know Live show hosted by Kristian and myself this Thursday evening, 7 p.m. So now let's move on to Mailbag. This is the part of the show where you guys write in your emails and Ashley reads them with that delightful voice of hers. If you guys want to get your email read in that beautiful octave, just hit us up, collidervideo@gmail.com. And at the end of the show today, we're going to save some time for your live Twitter questions. So go ahead, start firing them in right now at Collider Video. All right, Ash, what's up first in our mailbox?
Scott Ray writes, I was really excited to hear about the biopic on Andre the Giant. My question is about how much success does this movie have to have in order to see biopics on other wrestlers, and who would you like to see getting their own movie? I personally would like to see Roddy Piper and Bret Hart. Thanks for all that you guys and gals do.
Well, I am the least of the wrestling buffs on this very panel, but I will say that somebody I got to know in real life pretty well was Roddy Piper, and he definitely could tell a story like no other. I would love to see some sort of treatment based on his very, very adventurous life in and outside of the world of professional wrestling. I also, when I was at the Houston Improv, I don't know if I told you this, there was a wrestler, I think he was around the 2000s there, MVP.
Oh yeah. Edge.
He was at the show.
Oh, not Edge. I was after my time.
Anyway, MVP, a big-time wrestler, was at the show. He told me a great story about Roddy Piper. He said that basically Piper, sometimes he'd walk into a bar when they were on the road with these other famous wrestlers, and just they would try to be heels, and then they would just turn into nice guys and just confuse the locals. They walk into some redneck bar somewhere. They go in, they sit at the bar. Some guy walks up. He takes the shot of whiskey that Roddy Piper had ordered, and this guy grabs it, takes the shot, and spits it back into a shot glass and throws it back at Roddy. You know what Roddy Piper does? Roddy Piper grabs it, does the shot, and says, "Roddy Piper, damn glad to meet you." And he never had to pay for a drink the rest of the night. Great story.
He was the best, and I got the pleasure of not only meeting him, but I used to co-host his podcast with him. Right. And he was a sweetheart of a guy. His stories were legendary. I would love to see a Roddy Piper biopic. I really think it's something. The guy was one of the more interesting dudes. His stories were crazy. I like the Bret Hart angle too, but there's one person that, if you're going to do a biopic, makes the most sense, and that's Vince McMahon. I mean, let's see a biopic on Vince McMahon, how it all started. Like, you hear about how the guy took over his dad's business and made it into an empire. Not only can you would be able to bring in all of the wrestlers through that. You talk about a shared universe, you could do it the same way that they're doing it through, I guess they're doing that now, what Gary Ross did. Not Gary Ross, F. Gary Gray did with Straight Outta Compton. They're going to now kind of do some spin-off films there. I think it's the same thing that you can do. So Vince McMahon is absolutely someone. He's controversial. A lot of things went down. You go to the steroid case in '93, the building of Hulk Hogan, the falling out with Hulk Hogan, all the stuff that he did, the stuff that he had to do to kind of change it over. And many times he had to leap his business from here to there many times throughout his career. The drama with his family. There's so much there for Vince McMahon.
All right, John Schnepp, do we need more wrestling biopics? And if so, who do you want to see?
I really like Kristian's idea of a Vince McMahon biopic. That really kind of because you could kind of touch on a lot of these other, WrestleMania, the creation of all these different things that are now legendary and well known. I myself got a chance to become friends with Roddy over the last 5-6 years, and I know for a fact that he has tons and tons, like hundreds of hours of himself for a documentary that he's been working on. So I know his good friend Bill, they're going to be putting something together for that. So be on the lookout for that in like 2017 or 18. I'm sure they're going to put something together that is kind of will help, at least fans of Roddy Piper, get some closure with him, and it'll get a cool documentary about, his personal life, because he was always somebody who really liked sharing. And like you said, Kristian, I mean, his stories are legendary. Like him fighting a bear is one of the funniest stories that I've ever heard. And that I would want to see that. I want to see that done on film, because that was just something that probably wasn't filmed. Him and this other guy were tag teaming. The guy slapped honey on his ass, and let's just totally figure out what happened. It was a fight with a bear. So I'd love to see a Roddy Piper, biopic done right, and definitely Vince McMahon is great. Macho Man would be really fun.
Oh yeah, gonna come back for the film, brother.
There's a lot of these characters, a lot of these bigger than life characters that had a sad story in real life. So I mean,
They give out free Slim Jims at the theater for Macho Man Savage. Makes too much sense.
Great suggestion. John Hamm as Vince McMahon. It's great.
Nice.
Love that. That is awesome.
Okay, we can cast it, and we'll see who shows up to see the movie opening weekend. Now let's move on to Twitter questions. These are the live questions you guys just wrote us in. They could be about anything inside and outside of the world of movies. Ashley, what is up first in Twitter?
Lauren writes, why don't we get good mystery movies anymore? Do you guys have any favorites, excluding Clue and Seven, maybe?
Oh, I was going to say Clue and Seven. That's cheating.
I was going to say Seven.
I think we're getting a good mystery movie coming up later this year with The Girl on the Train. I think it's going to be a cool mystery. Gone Girl was a pretty good mystery.
Same person, right? Isn't Fincher
I didn't read the book. Fincher did Gone Girl.
He's not doing
No, but he did Gone
Seven.
Girl. But he did Gone Girl and Seven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Fincher has a lot of cool mystery. You know, I think he did The Game too, which is kind of a cool mystery where you're watching some stuff unfold. So there have been good mysteries recently. It's hard to find them because mystery is it's not a video store category.
Right.
You know, it's like you walk in, it's like, oh, these are action, these are horror, these are drama. Mystery, kind of hard to wedge in there, but if you look hard enough, you can get Mystery Alaska. Well, that's a hockey movie. Schnepp?
Yeah, it kind of wedges in there into the thriller category is where mystery wedges in. I'm looking forward to the new Twin Peaks on television. That's definitely going to be a continuation of a 25-year-old mystery from season 2 to season 3. So that's the one I'm looking forward to most.
And X-Files, too. I mean, a great TV show. The first movie was really good. I want to believe.
Usual Suspects, I think, would be kind of a mystery.
Oh, yeah.
Crime also, but I mean, the way that it all pans out, so I'd say that's one of my favorite. I think we'll see some more. It's just, like I said, every year you get kind of one that pops,
right?
And they're hard to do because they're so intricate, and you really want to be invested the entire time. So they're some of my favorites. So.
Was Memento a mystery?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Christopher Nolan, occasionally he'll get into some mysterious tones, so keep your eyes open. Not going to be with Dunkirk, but
right.
He's got a calendar open.
There's a great mystery movie coming out. I think you could call it mystery. Last I heard, Phil Lord and Chris Miller attached to it, and you guys know I talk about this all the time. I talk about this all the time here. The Serial podcast. I think that they're doing a movie based off of that, so
nice.
I'm really excited for that.
I'm like halfway through the first season or whatever.
How do you not just
Serial.
binge like the first day? In LA traffic, this is the perfect thing to listen to.
I'm rocking out a lot of it. In LA traffic. I'm the guy with the windows down, Def Leppard coming out to the car.
Is there a podcast called LA Traffic? Because there needs to be.
Oh, that's a genius idea.
What? Where it's just
no
like,
one steal it.
Someone just stole it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but what would it be? You just hear cars honking and stuff?
I don't know. Some guy could just be sitting in LA traffic in the passenger seat just doing a podcast.
You know, there's a great podcast. It's good to listen to in traffic. It's a 5-minute long
Schnepp.
podcast. It's Mike Rowe, the guy, like the Fix-It guy. He just tells these random stories about whatever, and it's for like a short attention. I think it's called short attention span theater, something like that. Just like a story. It starts, it stops, then you're on to the next one.
Well, if it's only 5 minutes, how is that traffic?
Well, no, you put them on repeat, then you listen to multiple tales.
Tons of
same
stories.
time. You can get 20 stories in one trip.
All right. Next question comes from JIC317, and they write, "What is the first R-rated movie your parents took you to?"
Ooh, that's a good kind of trick question, because first R-rated movie I saw in a theater was Pet Sematary, but my parents definitely did not sign off on that, even though I lied to my aunt and said they did. First one that my parents took me to see is a very embarrassing story, because it was have I ever told you the story?
Isn't it Pet Sematary?
No. I just
I know.
It was on my birthday. And because my birthday, July 7th, as we all now know, is in the summertime, and I really wanted to see Species. Because I wanted to see Natasha Henstridge be a naked chick. You know, I'm a young, maturing boy. I have needs. My dad somebody put him under the impression that we were going to see Apollo 13 that night. So I remember it was my birthday, and we went and we were going to pick up my dad from work. We pick him up, and he gets in the car. This guy is over the moon excited. I'm like, yeah, man, you ready to go see Species? He's like, I thought we were seeing Apollo 13. And I said, no, we're seeing Species. He was crestfallen. He held it together. He took his boy to see Species so he could see a naked chick. And then the next day, me and Dad went to go see Apollo 13.
Oh, nice.
It was a slightly better space movie.
Yes. I think the first one was Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Ah, good one. Yeah, I think better than the first. Yep.
I want to say, Jaws was PG. I'm pretty sure it was Chinatown. Pretty sure that was rated R.
You forgot about it because it's
rated,
Chinatown?
No, it's rated R. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
That was the first one I remember.
Yeah.
Ash, have your parents taken you to see an R-rated movie
Of course. The other day we talked about how we went to go see There's Something About Mary, but also I remember, I think Titanic is rated R, yes?
No, it's not. No,
Well,
it's
why do you
definitely
see naked
PG-13.
people?
You can see naked people.
No, you do.
Yeah,
Because I remember
said
my
you
mom
can see
covering my
naked people.
eyes.
Yeah.
You just see
naked
her
people
breasts.
in PG-13.
You
You can see boobs in
Yeah.
PG-13?
Yeah.
You see
Oh,
boobs
that's
in
right.
PG.
You can't.
It's more like
It's excessive than yeah.
It's like colored pencil boobs, because I mean he's painting her most of the time.
but she's
naked.
She's there.
Sure, you see live boobs, but not as much as Species, boy.
Right.
Go check out Species.
Anyways, my mom covered my eyes at that part. So
It's probably a smart
Thanks,
move.
Mom.
It didn't work, but nice move. All right, what's your next question?
Neon Ronan writes, favorite recent movie most people hated?
Favorite recent movie most people hated. I'll go back to, I don't think people hated this movie, but they certainly didn't praise it like I did. It was 13 Hours. I was transfixed by that movie. It put me in the midst of that Benghazi action, and I thought it was spectacular filmmaking from a very unlikely source in Michael Bay. So I was blown away by that movie. Kristian?
Anytime I talk to critics that I like this movie, they're all like, really? You like that one? But it seems like fans dig it, and that's This Is Where I Leave You. With
Oh yeah, I really like that.
Yes, but there were a lot of people who I remember having a conversation with someone just like, that movie's just awful, and I was like, I like that a
Why
lot.
do people think that movie's awful? I get if you're a little bored by it, but the cast, Tina Fey, Jason Bateman, Kylo Ren, it's a really good cast. Yeah.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren's in the movie. How about you, Schnepp? A movie that everybody seems to not like, but you love recently.
High Rise recently. I literally just saw it a week ago, and I loved it. And then I
People
went
hate
online.
it. Yeah,
people hated it.
Yeah.
They're like, So
High Rise, but it's better than The Loft. I think we can all agree on that.
Didn't
even see
Oh,
that.
The Loft, I saw it. I
Loft
was
was
so let
horrible.
down. I was so let down.
Wentworth Miller just retired again after that one.
He went back to prison. He's got to break out. All right, Ash, let's do one more Twitter
Okay.
question.
Ariana Alba writes, which pop singers can you see being taken seriously as an actress?
Pop singers can be
Demi
seriously
Lovato, maybe?
Demi
I think that she
Lovato's got she's got a screw loose, doesn't she? I mean, maybe that helps.
That's why.
But there's been other,
I don't think she's got a screw loose, though. She actually came back from a lot of, like, a pretty crazy ordeal. She was, like, pretty vocal about her. She had an addiction. She came back and fought from it. She's actually kind of well put together now, so I'd like to see her. I think she could.
Well done, Demi. How about that Zendaya, who's in the new Spider-Man Homecoming? No, Zendaya. She's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm not sure what the role is. I don't think it's a huge role. She's probably somebody in Peter Parker's classes, but. She was first cast as like, oh, she's from the Disney Channel. It's like, she's really. Apparently, she's got some good acting chops. So I'll say, I'll see your Demi Lovato, and I'll raise you a Zendaya. I hope I'm saying your name right.
You are.
Schnepp?
I don't know.
I
knew it was
you
coming.
do know, you love the show Scream Queens. I love Scream Queens too. Ariana Grande is like a pop singer.
She was good. I mean,
I like her character. I think that she fits for that character. Maybe Lady Gaga because she's an American Horror Story.
Someone
I'll go
literally
with,
just said that. Yeah.
I'll go with what's his face, the kid from Dunkirk, from One Direction.
Harry
going into-
Styles?
Harry Styles, baby,
Have
you're
we
my
seen
boy.
that?
Yeah, he was like the kid from the guy in Soul Asylum. But I'm with you, Harry Styles. Be great in Dunkirk. Honor the legacy, sir. All right. This has been the greatest show in the history of Collider Movie Talk. I'm just happy to be a small part of it. I want to thank everybody, both behind the cameras, especially Kristian's nemesis, Wendy Lee, as well as Adam over there, Jonathan in the corner, Dennis, Mark Riley, Perry Nemiroff, and everybody joining me on the table today. First up, Mr. John Schnepp. He has his finger on the pulse of pop culture. Where can everybody find you?
hey, you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram, just at John Schnepp. Check out my film, The Death Superman Lives, What Happened. Go to the site, TDOWS. I can't even say it anymore. Bye.
Hell of an effort, though.
TDOSWS, whatever it's called.
Apparently, Zendaya is actually an actress on the Disney Channel, not a pop star. I get all these names confused. Kristian, you win with Demi Lovato. Where can everybody find you?
Well, thank you, sir. At Kristian Harloff, Twitter and Instagram. I told people were asking me if there were any upcoming matches that we should announce for Schmodown. Here's a couple real quick. So obviously we have Finstock and Wolf that's coming up this Friday. The following Friday will be Roca versus Makuga. The following week after that, myself, I'm going up against Andy Signor. That should be a good one.
That's a tough one.
And then the week after that, Jason Inman makes his debut against Gray Drake from Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I get to step into the ring a little bit later on this summer against a very familiar opponent.
I almost forgot. Jason Inman is going to be on today's Heroes, which will be on later this afternoon, and it's TDOSLWH.com to get my film. But check out Heroes today. It's an action-packed episode.
See, look at that. He gets knocked down. He gets right back up again. Are you done with your plug, sir? At Kristian Harloff?
Yep, that's it.
ChristianHarloff.com.org.
No.
Ashley
was
Mova.
canceled.
Where can everybody find you?
Twitter, Instagram, at Ashley Mova. Happy Tuesday, guys.
And thank you guys for celebrating your Taco Tuesday with us here at Collider Movie Talk. Make sure you guys check out AMCtheaters.com. That's where you want to go for all the latest box office and Showtime information. Bookmark Collider.com on the interwebs. That's where we go for a lot of our hot scoops. We report to you guys each and every day. And of course, subscribe right here to Collider Video on YouTube. And go over and check out Kristian and I's channel, Schmoes Know, while you're on the tube. My name is simply Mark Ellis, and I will be at the world famous Comedy Store this weekend in Los Angeles at Mark Ellis Live. See you guys tomorrow. Hold the door!
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.